Most mountain flying attention is focused on what many consider to be the real mountains, those from the high plains out to the west coast. The eastern mountains, those that run from Maine down into Georgia, are, however, just as unyielding as those bigger ones out west. There are a lot of accidents in the eastern mountains, and even the relatively limited mountains in Arkansas have claimed a lot of airplanes. The weather, too, is more complex in the eastern mountains. They are obscured by clouds quite a lot, and the presence of the mountains can actually modify weather. One thing they do quite often is cause fronts to slow down. Weather problems in the mountains occur often enough that there is an AirMet Sierra, that describes IFR conditions or extensive mountain obscurations. When we fly VFR in the mountains, the V for visual says it all. If you can't see where you're going, don't go. There are some wide valleys in the eastern mountains, but there are also valley traps, or places where the valleys come to an end in high terrain. VFR valley flying is high risk and not a technique that I'm going to address here. Instead, we'll be looking mostly at IFR operations in the mountains of the east. This is an activity where a lot of pilots have failed to measure up. Simply put, it is flying where just one little mistake can turn all the lights out. First, let's fly in a new G1000 Skylane to a mountain airport that has everything going for it. Asheville Regional Airport in North Carolina has the distinction of being about 25 miles away from the highest point in the eastern U.S., Mount Mitchell at 6,684 feet, with many other mountains near that elevation to the northeast and west, with lower mountains in other quadrants. The airport is in a wide valley, and that helps. But what helps more than anything else is that IFR flights are flying with radar coverage all the way to the ground. As we'll see, radar coverage is quite a big deal when it comes to managing risk in the mountains. With radar coverage, there's another person who knows where you are, your altitude, what's a safe altitude, and your relationship to terrain. Before terrain displays in the cockpit, when we flew into an airport like Asheville, there was no way we could absolutely keep up with our relationship to terrain unless we flew published routes. When we were being vectored, only the controller could do this, and over the years they've done a great job of keeping mountains and airplanes separated at Asheville. Having said that, I always use my terrain system to keep tab on how things are going when I fly into and out of Asheville. These terrain warning systems are available as approved panel mount terrain awareness and warning systems, TAWs, often called ground procs, that are required on more exotic airplanes. A version, not approved for anything but still highly useful because it works the same way and has the same information, is available in handheld GPS units. The basis of all this is airplane position from the GPS in relation to terrain from a terrain database, with a red depiction meaning big trouble and yellow a strong warning. You would want to study any unit and learn exactly what red and yellow mean. Any pilot who flies IFR into mountain airports and does not use one of these terrain awareness devices is making a basic mistake, because for not many dollars they address the cause of many tragic accidents in airplanes, both simple and complex.